We're always told that school is supposed to prepare us for life. But what if it could actually teach us how to enjoy that life? I mean, what if happiness itself could be a subject right there on your timetable, next to math and history?
It's a pretty bold question, right? Can something as personal, as messy as happiness really be taught and learned like any other subject? Well, that is exactly what we are going to dig into today.
So, get this. In Germany, this isn't just some theoretical what if question. Back in 2007, an educator named Ernst Fritz Schubert created a subject called Schulfach Look that literally translates to school subject for happiness. And he did it because he saw an education system that was all about performance, performance, performance. And he worried it was forgetting about the students' actual well-being. Now, let's be super clear. This class isn't about chasing those little fleeting moments of joy. We're not talking about a curriculum filled with puppy videos and free ice cream. The whole point is to build a solid foundation for a successful, satisfying life by teaching real, practical skills that lead to long-term well-being. And that idea is really the heart of the whole thing. It's all built on some very solid psychological research. The goal, in the founder's own words, is to empower students, to give them the tools to become effective architects of their own lives. So, what's in that toolbox? Well, one of the key pillars is something called logotherapy from Viktor Frankl. And what's so cool about this is how it breaks down that huge, scary search for meaning. Frankl said we find purpose in three main ways: through what we create and give to the world, through what we experience and take in, and, this is the big one, through the attitude we choose to have when we're faced with stuff we just can't change. The second pillar basically flips the whole medical world on its head. Instead of asking what makes people sick, salutogenesis asks what creates health. It's all about building what's called a sense of coherence, which is just a deep down feeling that life makes sense, that you can handle what it throws at you, and that its challenges are actually worth facing. And the third pillar? It's resilience. This isn't about being bulletproof or never feeling down. It's about being able to get back up. It's the psychological muscle that lets us navigate setbacks, learn from them, and actually come back stronger. So yeah, this class is grounded in some pretty serious psychological theory. Okay, so that's the why behind it all. But what about the how? What does it actually look like when the bell rings and it's time for happiness class? Right, first thing, forget lectures and textbooks. This is all about learning by doing. We're talking team-building games, students setting and tracking their own personal goals, like, learning an instrument or running a 5K. It involves getting up and moving, creative stuff like theater and art, and a huge, huge emphasis on just having open, honest conversations. And this framework here really gets to the core of it. See, it's not just a bunch of random fun activities. Everything they do is designed to get students to look inward, to reflect on these 6 key areas of their lives: their strengths, their values, their goals. It's this process of structured self-reflection that builds real, healthy self-awareness. Of course, anytime you have a class that's teaching meaning and values, well, it's going to brush up against the traditional source for those things: religion. And that raises a really fascinating question. Are these two approaches competing with each other? You can see the split pretty clearly here. Schulfach Gluck is all about the here and now, using psychology to help you become more effective in your own life. Religious education, on the other hand, is looking towards transcendence, drawing from scripture with the goal of connecting to God and finding hope beyond this life. They really seem to be playing on two totally different fields. And that has led to some really valid critiques. A religious pedagogue, Simone Hiller, brings up a great point here. She worries that by making happiness a subject, you create this new pressure. It's like it reinforces this crazy societal demand that you must be happy, and if you're not, you're failing the class. It's a pretty compelling concern. But here's an idea. Instead of seeing them as competitors, what if we started looking for the common ground? What if, despite their very different starting points, both paths are trying to get to the same destination: a good, meaningful life? And what's so fascinating is just how much they share at their foundation. I mean, look at this. Both of them start from a really positive view of humanity, seeing people as inherently valuable and capable of growth. Both focus on the whole person, not just their brain. And they promote remarkably similar values: empathy, responsibility, and that big search for meaning. So this overlap, it opens the door for a really interesting conversation. In fact, you could argue that the success of the happiness subject offers some powerful lessons for religious institutions that want to make their own message connect better with people today. Because let's be honest, a central challenge for a lot of religions is the perception that their message is all about rules and threats. Basically, a long list of don'ts that are backed up by the fear of punishment. And the shift that's needed, inspired by clauses like Schulfach Glück, is toward a message of genuine encouragement, empowerment, and joy. A good news that actually feels like good news. And this cartoon just nails the problem, doesn't it? When the main takeaway from a message of salvation is just this huge list of things you can't do, it feels less like liberation and more like a burden. That little "have a nice day" at the end almost feels like a joke.
So what are the actual takeaways here? Well, first, make it about experience. Don't just talk about faith. Create ways for people to practice it. Second, use positive language that focuses on people's strengths. Third, empower people. Show them how they can make a real positive impact. And finally, connect those timeless teachings directly to the real-world, everyday challenges that people are actually facing. At the end of the day, this suggests that personal growth isn't about choosing one path over the other. It's this continuous cycle. You figure out your strengths, you create a vision for your life, you act on it, and then you reflect. And the amazing thing is, both psychological wisdom and spiritual tradition can feed into every single step of that journey. Which really brings it all back to us, doesn't it? Maybe the most powerful idea here is that well-being isn't just something that happens to you. It's a set of skills you can actually practice. So I'll leave you with this question. If that's true, what's one small skill, gratitude, mindfulness, a moment of kindness, that you could practice today?